New construction versus resale in Tampa Bay. That's the question that I get almost more than any other question. And I really want to stop people from making a mistake before they ever reach out to me and they're deciding on new construction versus resale. The mistake I see people making are they're comparing the price of a new construction home to a resale home and then just stopping right there. So for example, if you see a new construction home at $550,000 and a resale home at $500,000, you may be thinking, well, I have my answer, but you don't, and you're not even close. Here's why. Because in the Tampa Bay, the choices between those two is not just about the house. It's actually where are you going to live your life every single day. It's going to be about what your commute looks like. It's going to be what your Saturday morning looks like. And it's going to be what your monthly payment looks like after you add everything in. So the listing price doesn't tell you everything, and I'm going to walk you through all of that today. It's not the stuff that's going to show up in a brochure or on Zillow when you're making this decision. So I'm going to be talking about the full picture so that when you're making a decision, you know you're making the right decision. I'm Jennifer Messina, and I relocated to the Tampa Bay in 2010 from Los Angeles. At that time, I was a special agent with the Homeland Security, and it was a government move, and I had a son who was in second grade, and I did not know the area. And I learned it as I went, and I made some mistakes along the way, which is why I'm doing what I do. Every week, I'm going to break down neighborhoods and communities and real trade-offs so that you know before you move here what makes the most sense for you, because I had to learn the hard way. So if you're liking these videos and you want to learn more, then go ahead and hit subscribe. But for today, let's get into it. Here's the one thing I want you to understand about new construction in Tampa Bay, and it's something that catches a lot of my relocation buyers off guard. And that is that most new construction is not in the middle of Tampa. It's either north, south, or east of Tampa. We can't go much further west. But developers need land, and they need places where the land is still large enough that they can put in these large master planned communities. And so we're talking about places like Wesley Chapel, Orlando Lakes, San Antonio, those are north, or Parrish and Waimama, those are south. And there's a lot of communities in these areas that are genuinely impressive. For example, we have Bexley, which is in Land Lakes, and it's full of walking trails and community events and pools. It's very polished but lived in. Then we have Angeline, which is north of Tampa, and it's based around wellness and innovation. It's going to be right near a brand new Moffitt Cancer Center. So there's an expansion corridor with this community that is second to none with regard to economic development. So it's definitely a good place to pay attention to. They're going to offer resort style pools and fitness centers, pickleball, all the things. So if this is the lifestyle that you're looking for, then I would be happy to show you these new construction areas and more. But here's what I need you to hold on to alongside of that. If you're going to be commuting to downtown Tampa regularly, or if you fly out of Tampa International Airport a few times a month, or your goal is simply to drive to a Clearwater beach on a Friday afternoon and actually get there, that distance from places like, say, Wesley Chapel or Parrish are going to be tough, going to be really tough. However, for resale areas like West Chase or Carrollwood, Lutz, which is where I live, Palm Harbor, Safety Harbor, and Dunedin, these are established neighborhoods where you're simply not going to find a builder that's selling hundreds or thousands of new homes in a master planned community. But you might find exactly the lifestyle that you came for. Area that's already built and surrounded by mature trees, areas that already have a decent commute and a coffee shop and grocery stores and hospitals, got it all figured out. So before we talk about the price of new construction versus resales, I want you to answer one question. And you guys know this is the question I ask every single person who reaches out to me, because this answer tells me more about you than almost anything else. And that is, tell me what your Saturday looks like. What are you going to do? Where are you going to be? Are you going to be taking the kids to travel ball, or are you going to be heading out to the beach? Listen, if you tell me what your Saturday looks like, I can tell you where in the Tampa Bay we should be looking. And that one question normally is going to help us gear towards one side of the conversation before we even look at a single address. You guys know I'm all about the neighborhood first and the address second. So first, let's talk about what actually you get with new construction, because there definitely are some real advantages. Number one, obviously, everything's new. Roof is new, HVAC, electrical, water heater, all of your appliances. So in Florida, this is not a small thing. So when I'm working with a buyer for resale, this is honestly some of the things that I'm going to ask first. What's the age of the roof and what's the age of the HVAC? Because a home that looks like a great deal at $500,000 can feel very different if you're replacing a roof in a year or two. So new construction puts you at year one for all of these systems, and you're always going to get some sort of builder warranty. And now what's covered and for how long, that can vary, and we're going to look at that closely depending on which communities we look at, but there's always going to be some sort of warranty. What I want to address head on is the misconception that buyers have. People think when you walk into a new construction, you may not need a real estate agent to represent you. So you walk in, you meet someone that's standing in the model home, they greet with a smile, and they seem like they know everything about the builder's product. And they do, because they work for the builder. So they're not there to help you compare other new construction communities. Maybe there's 4 or 5 others that are right around there that you haven't even seen yet. They're not there to negotiate on your behalf or advocate for you when something comes up during the build. That's why it's critical that you have your own representation when you're buying new construction in Florida. Now, typically, I've never seen it otherwise, it doesn't cost you anything. The builder has already priced my compensation or other realtors' compensation into it. So when you're sitting across the desk from someone from the builder's team, someone who is looking at the full picture before you sign is your advocate and who you should be bringing with you to the model home. And the key is to be involved from the very beginning. Listen, a lot of builders are going to require that you have an agent there with your very first visit. So if you are planning a trip to new construction, please reach out to me before you walk into a model home, not after you've already registered yourself at 5 different communities. I'm telling you, it's a much better experience when we do it in the right order. And the seller's paying my compensation, so it doesn't really cost you anything. I'm going to be talking to the builder about what incentives they have, what price reductions they may have, what below market interest rates they have. Because some buyers, they do have financial tools that individual resellers simply cannot match. They're giving below market interest rates through their preferred lender. A lot of builders are contributing towards the closing cost, or they're giving credits towards upgrades. And on inventory homes, which are homes that are already finished or nearly finished, sometimes builders will offer significant incentives because they want to get those homes closed and off their books as quickly as possible. And here's where I can give you a real example, because this one is one that stops people in their tracks. Let's say, for example, you are looking at $550,000 new construction home and a $500,000 resale. Now on the surface, the resale looks like the obvious choice, right? It's $50,000 less. Done, right, moving on. Not necessarily. If the builder is offering a bought down interest rate through the life of the loan, and that would be through their preferred lender, let's say they're offering a 4.99 while the current interest rate is closer to 7, here's what actually happens to your monthly payment. It's going to be less. So on the $500,000 resale at 7%, you put 20% down, you're financing $400,000. So your principal and interest is going to be right around $2,600 a month. Now on the $550,000 new construction at 4.99, if you put down 20%, you're going to be financing $440,000. So your principal and interest is going to be right around $2,400 a month. So the new construction home is $50,000 more expensive. However, it costs you almost $200 less every single month. That's not a trick. That's just math. And what I say is stop comparing the sale price. Start comparing the payments, because the number at the top of the contract is just the starting point. It's not the story. So let's be clear. The monthly advantage can shift once you factor in things like a CDD or an HOA or higher insurance. All of those things matter, which is why we're going to look at the full picture together, because buy the rate down is real, and it's on one of the most underestimated tools that the builder has. So we're going to look at all of the numbers side by side. And here's what those numbers also have to include, because the model home is designed to make you fall in love, and that literally is its job. You guys have seen me do home tours through model homes. They're gorgeous. There's upgraded flooring, upgraded cabinets, designer lighting, maybe they put in a pool, the landscaping is perfect, and the sign in big letters says home starting in $400,000. Well, that home that you're standing in is not necessarily near where that price once was or is once you factor in a lot premium or any other upgrades. Next, we have CDDs, which is the Community Development District. And these are common in newer Tampa Bay communities, and they show up as part of your tax bill. So depending on the community, this could be a meaningful annual expense. Then potentially you have an HOA on top of that. Assume that a resale home comes with things like blinds, mature landscaping, maybe a lanai. With new construction, those are things that potentially you're going to have to be adding in. So the comparison we really need to make is mortgage, taxes, insurance, CDD, HOA, and realistic move-in costs. That's the real number, not just the price on the contract. And that's where resale has an advantage that I think most buyers seriously underestimate. So in established neighborhoods like West Chase or Carrollwood, parts of Lutz, Palm Harbor, Safety Harbor, Dunedin, there may be no CDD at all. In fact, most of them there won't be. Now, HOA fees, they may often still exist. However, they're normally pretty modest. And a house that comes with it, a lot of times have real value. For example, the lanai and the patio may already be screened, or the landscaping may be already done. The house may already have window coverings. So these are things that sometimes get overlooked entirely when you're comparing new construction to a resale home. So a resale home in an established neighborhood, you can see exactly what you're buying. The neighborhood is not in rendering, and you can drive by on Tuesday morning rush hour and feel exactly what's going on in the neighborhood. You can also see where the grocery store is. That's certainly something, especially if you're moving here from out of state and trying to make high stakes decisions without being able to check in whenever you want. And the lot sizes. So in established neighborhoods, often they have larger lot sizes. In master plan communities, the builders are building efficiently, and sometimes the distance between the houses can be smaller than you would expect. And I've shown you guys that on some of my home tour videos. So if you haven't subscribed yet, right now, let's do it, because I put out videos on specific neighborhoods every week, and this is exactly where the details start to matter for your relocation decision to the Tampa Bay. So here's how I would break this down for you. If newer systems and modern floor plans and resort style amenities and builder incentives are high on your list, and your lifestyle generally works with maybe being a little further north or east of the city, then we potentially could be looking at new construction. Communities like Bexley or Angeline and some of the newer phases of Westlake Chapel, they're all going to be worth seeing in person. If your location is your priority and you would like to be closer to downtown Tampa or to the airport or to the beaches, or if you want a larger lot or a neighborhood with more character that's already established, then maybe resale is where we should start. And if you're generally just don't know yet, that's my favorite part, because that's what we get to figure out together. We can look at both. We can tour resale homes that match your budget and your lifestyle priorities, and then we can walk through newer construction communities. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, however many you want, to see where they actually fit in your life. And then we'll put them side by side, not just in price, but on the total monthly cost, factoring in your commute time, what your actual week looks like, and where you're going to be headed from that address. Because you're not just buying a house, you're definitely going to be choosing what your life in Tampa Bay is going to look like. But new construction or resale, let's put it in the comments and you tell me, which way are you leaning right now? And I read every single comment, so I would generally love to see what you guys are thinking. If this video has helped you at all, then share it, or give it a thumbs up, or send it to someone, make a comment, all the things. It might hopefully save someone else from making a very expensive mistake. And if you are in the middle of planning a relocation to the Tampa Bay area, whether you're moving in 6 months or 2 years from now, it's never too easy to reach out to me directly. The link is in the description. We can easily hop on a call and I can talk you through your situation, your timeline, and and what your priorities are and help you figure out the areas that actually make the most sense for you. Down below, there should also be a link to my interactive relocation guide. So if you click on that, that will be something that you can take away and help you as you're making your decision. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. I put out new videos every single week covering neighborhoods and market updates, everything else you need to know before you make this move. My name's Jennifer Messina, and I am your relocation realtor resource here on the Tampa Bay.